Welcome back to another edition of Gary's Record Collection. In the collection, I got a lot of albums, and they run the gamut from rock and roll to classical to jazz to... I have albums from when I was in band. They made albums of our marching band performances. And so it probably should not come as a surprise to you that I have kids' albums, too. Stuff that was important to me when I was a kid. So this album that we're going to talk about today is called Favorite Songs from Jim Henson's Muppets. And it's a 2-record set, and it collects songs from The Muppet Show, Sesame Street, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, Fraggle Rock, Muppet Babies, the first 3 Muppet movies, and the special Rocky Mountain Holiday. And there's a few extra tracks on there, too, that are new to albums. A lot of these are compilations. They had appeared on other albums. So here it is. This is my copy. I got this in 1987 or 1988. Now, the thing about this is, if you look at it, it was made in Canada. It was put out by Silver Eagle Records, and it's printed and manufactured in Canada. Now, why am I buying a record made in Canada in the U.S.? And where did I buy it? And also the other thing is, interestingly enough, for an album that is made in 1987, there is no barcode on here. So what does that mean? It was not sold in stores. I got this from a TV commercial. Those 2-minute TV commercials that were all over independent television in the late 80s. One of them was for Jim Henson's Muppets. So it was like, of course I'm going to send my $9.99 in or whatever it was for that. I also got like the King Biscuit Flower Hour, which is a concert, 3 CDs that were put out by Silver Eagle. So, if you see those commercials, especially back in the day, it's like nobody bought them. Oh yeah, people bought that stuff. I am living proof of that here. So what's on this? This is great because it's a double album and has 28 songs on it. Now, granted, all these songs are like 2 minutes long, so they're not deep, but you get like 70 minutes worth of music. Each side is like, 20 to 20 minutes or so. The last side is very short. It's only like 13 minutes or so. But still, it's like you get basically an entire CD worth of Muppet music. The one that's not on here, though, that I probably would have argued was the theme to Sesame Street. It's not, but that's okay, because back in the day, when I was getting, Sesame Street was a new thing, so of course I had the actual Sesame Street book and record. It's on there if I need to listen to it. But that's not the album we're talking about. We're talking about favorites from Jim Henson's Muppets. So the theme to Sesame Street is not on there, but what theme is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Muppet Show!
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Muppet Show tonight.
Hey, did you know that George the janitor is so cheap?
So now, at this point, from the show, you expect to hear from Statler and Waldorf in the booth. But this was actually apparently for the Muppet Show. They actually put out a record for the Muppet Show. So now I got to find that too. I got to add it to the list. But yeah, so it's like the Muppet Show, which was insanely popular in the 70s, and not only because the Muppets were funny, but like all the music that was on that show. I mean, I will sit and go back and if you want a good laugh, go watch the video of Rita Moreno singing Fever with Animal on drums. It's hilarious, and she's a good singer too, but it's like just the whole thing was hilarious. And that's what the Muppet Show was. And they also had, one of the bits that they did, and it was a carryover, I remember it from Sesame Street, was Manamana.
Manamana. Manamana.
I thought the whole concept was great with the hippie singer coming in and interrupting the girl group. But Mana was an actual song, so it wasn't just created by the Muppets. Let's see, we'll look back here in the credits. Mana Umilion, Umilion, was the author of that. I remember having a 45 of it from some Swedish group from the late 60s. So it was a hit, and but it lent itself to the Muppets, which was great. After the Muppet Show, then of course there was the Muppet movie, and it's basically a road picture, right? It's like Fozzie and Kermit traveling the countryside, like trying to get to Hollywood. So here it is.
Moving right along in search of good times and good news, with good friends you can't lose.
This could become a habit.
Opportunity knocks once, let's reach out and grab it.
Yeah.
Together we'll nab it.
We'll hitchhike, bus, or yellow cabin.
Cabin?
Moving right along. Footloose and fancy free.
Getting there is half the fun, come share it with me.
Moving right along.
We'll learn to share the load.
We don't need a map to keep this show on the road.
Hey, the song is sounding better, Fozzie. Moving right along, we found a life on the highway.
And your way is my way.
So trust my navigation.
California, here we come high in the skyland.
Palm trees and warm sand.
Though sadly we just left Rhode Island.
We did what?
Just forget it, I'm moving right along.
Hey, LA, where have you gone?
Send someone to fetch us, we're in Saskatchewan. I'm moving right along.
You take it, you know best.
Hey, I've never seen the sun come up in the west.
And of course, the famous line by Fozzie Bear, insert right here: "A bear in his natural habitat, a Studebaker." So that was great. And that was also one where it's like, take a left at the fork in the road, and they're driving down the road, and of course, what do they see in the road? A gigantic fork from a gigantic kitchen table, I guess. So, I was a little bit older when the Muppet movie came out, but still, it struck me as funny. It's one of those things where you can enjoy it at any age. There's something in there, much like the Warner Brothers cartoons, the Looney Tunes. I mean, they're made for kids, but there's a lot of adult stuff in there too. The line I remember from the Muppet movie is like Fozzie and Kermit are their car broke down, and Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem fixed it for them and got them on their way and painted it all. And Fozzie says, "I don't know how to thank you guys." And Kermit comes up right alongside him and says, "I don't know why to thank you guys." And as a kid, that just goes right over your head, but as an adult, you hear that, and it's just like, that's hilarious. So, also in the Muppet movie, I mean, it was Kermit's big thing, and nothing exemplified that more than the Rainbow Connection.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
And you know, songs by Kermit, it was the melancholy, right? They're reserved. They're not like boasting. They're not oh, look at me kind of thing. I mean, it's very introspective. And that was like a history of Kermit. That was his personality. And even going back to the original, the original Sesame Street book and record, you know, it's right on from the first season of Sesame Street. It's not easy being green. I mean, listen to this.
It's not easy being green, having to spend each day the color of the leaves. When I think it could be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that. It's not easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things, and people tend to pass you over 'cause you're not standing out like flashy sparkles in the water or stars in the sky. But green's the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be big like a mountain, or important like a river, or tall like a tree.
Very melancholy, very not sad really, but just like introspective. And I mean, boy, I mean, lay that on a 5-year-old, and it's like they, you know, may not understand all the words, but they understand the feeling. It's not easy being, you know, he was not easy being green, not easy being yourself. You got to fit in somehow to this other, you know, world where some people are just very outgoing, some people are shy. It's like, how do you fit? So, just way ahead of his time, I think, and what they were doing with Sesame Street. It was not entertaining. It was entertaining, but there were so many lessons to be learned in that show. They were just way ahead of their time. Also way ahead of his time is a Muppet getting a record in the top 20, and we go back to 1970, and I actually heard this on satellite radio on 70s on 7. It's like, why am I hearing Ernie from Sesame Street singing Rubber Ducky? Now I know the song, you know, it was great.
Oh, Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Rubber Ducky, I'm awfully fond of you. Vo-vo-vo-dee-o, Rubber Ducky, joy of joys. When I squeeze you, you make noise.
So yeah, it's a great song for Sesame Street, but believe it or not, it was released as a 45, and it went to, I mean, it was like they, let's see, peaking at number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100 on September 26, 1970. That's insane. And then the B-side was actually the theme to Sesame Street. Rubber Ducky, all of a sudden, and so I'm listening to satellite radio, and it's like the 70s, right? It's like, all right, here's some Pink Floyd, some Led Zeppelin, The Who, some of the more pop songs that you'll hear on the 70s on 7. And all of a sudden, here comes Ernie with Rubber Ducky. It's like, what is this? But I mean, he had his day in the spotlight. That was a big song. So it was like, more power to him. You know, another big song from the first season of Sesame Street is like that. They were trying to, you know, of course, teach lessons, right? But this is the best one from Cookie Monster.
Now, what starts with the letter C? Cookie starts with C. Let's think of other things that starts with C. Who cares about the other things? C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for kooky, that's good enough for me. Oh, kooky, kooky, kooky starts with C. Oh, C is for kooky.
Frank Oz, the voice of Cookie Monster, was like, I don't know how he didn't ruin his voice doing that, because like to growl like that, it takes a toll on your vocal cords and on your throat. But C is for cookie. It's like, I'll be making cookies or eating cookies. Like, you know what? C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. One of the other songs as I was preparing this album on here, it comes from the Muppet Show. It's Rolf the dog played it on the piano. It's called Coddleston Pie. And the reason I included this was because it's like again, the stuff for kids and stuff for adults. And we're going to skip ahead a little bit into the song because he has an observation here about the way the music is constructed.
Now this is where the song changes key, what we call a modulation. That's G sharp minor. Coddleston.
So a kid knows what a modulation is, and you're wondering what G sharp minor is, but I thought that was like him sneaking that stuff in. Just great because it was the stuff for adults. There was some stuff for adults. There was some plenty of stuff for kids too. But yeah, certainly if you have kids, they're going to know these songs. There are other things that are out here like the Muppet Baby Steam, Coconut. But you put the lime in the coconut. I mean, that was a hit by Nilsson. Java's on here. That was an Al Hirt song, which I love anyway. But this is just, and the Fraggle Rock theme is on here and all of that. So there you go. This actually goes for like $30 or $40 on Discogs if you want to get a copy. I mean, this is great. But this is a good one to have. Favorite songs from Jim Henson's Muppets. What can I say? I love the Muppets, man. And the music is hilarious too, and it's funny. So it's too bad they didn't include Fever from the Muppet Show or the Sesame Street scene, but yeah, life goes on. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time on Gary's Record Collection.